ActionSA has joined calls for Justice Minister Thembi Simelane to step down with immediate effect. Simelane appeared before Parliament to answer questions about a loan she received from a VBS service provider, which she claims to have repaid. However, some members of Parliament say she must be investigated for her dealings with the controversial bank and be removed from her position. For more on this, we are joined by ActionSA Member of Parliament Athol Trollip. Athol, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So, she did sit down in front of Parliament and give her story, and she says she took a loan of, 47%, and she's paid it off. You don't buy that story?
Good morning. Yeah, thank you very much. So I think we were the first party to react to the story when it broke. And I took 3 steps. The first step, I wrote to the Public Protector and asked the Public Protector to investigate this independently as a matter of urgency. I wrote to the President on the same day to inform the President about what was happening so that he couldn't feign innocence or not knowing what was going on. And I also wrote to the Speaker to ask her to please provide us the Minister's declarations when she was a Minister in the previous Parliament, and now she's obviously the Minister of Justice in the 7th Parliament. And then the Public Protector wrote back to say she will give me her decision on Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that happening. The President called the Minister to give him an explanation, and we've heard that she's appeared before the Secretary-General of her party to give him an explanation. And on Friday, she appeared before the Justice Committee, and I must say, after that interaction with the Minister, there are more questions than answers. She was evasive on some of the questions. She didn't answer all the questions. She didn't bring any evidential proof. She didn't bring the loan contract. She didn't bring the repayment terms, absolutely nothing. But she did tell us something very curious in the meeting on Friday. She said that she hadn't made a payment for 4 years on the loan. And then she made her first payment on the day that the report about the VBS investments into from her municipality broke. Now, for us, that's very curious. And she made 3 payments of 283,000 Rand each. One in October, one at the end of November, and one in January the following year. So from having made no payments for 4 years, she suddenly made 3 payments in about 5 months. Now, that to us is a red flag. And after considering Friday's interaction, I wrote to the Speaker and the Chairperson of the Justice Portfolio Committee yesterday to tell them that now more than ever we believe we need this matter investigated, and that it's untenable that the Minister continues in her position, because the Constitution of South Africa, Section 179, gives the Minister direct control and authority over the National Prosecuting Authority. Now, that is a concern, because if she's under question and she needs to be investigated, she could prevent that happening. So we believe that she needs to either resign or be suspended and appear before an independent investigation or in a court of law, preferably in a court of law.
Yeah. What do you make of the argument that she puts forward, though, that she approached Gundo for financial advice because she was worried about the job security in government work? What do you make of that argument? It's certainly one that we've heard before from members of Parliament.
Well, it doesn't hold any water, because she contradicted herself. She said that she had considered withdrawing money out of her pension when she left the civil service to become a politician. And she said that that would be too expensive, and that she'd gone to a commercial bank to apply for a loan, and that too was prohibitively expensive. And then she sought a loan from Gundo Wealth Management, and they gave her a loan at 11.2%. But when you calculate how much interest she paid over that 4-year period, she paid nearly 47% back of the capital amount, which is excessive. And that contradicted what she'd said. So we believe that there is some question around whether, in fact, there was a loan and whether there was a loan agreement and that there were repayment terms.
Yeah.
And until we've seen that, we must assume that there wasn't.
Yeah, and 47% is quite a bit, right? So one wonders if we still call this a loan or a kickback.
Well, my initial concern was raised when I read that Mr. Gundo had invested money from Polokwane municipality, where the current minister was the mayor. And as soon as the commission started flowing from that investment, and Gundo Wealth management received in excess of 24 million rands worth of commissions from the investments he made in VBS. As soon as the commission started flowing, then the loan happened. And then the minister, of course, also said on Friday that the money was all paid back from VBS back into her municipality. And she contradicted herself because initially she said she had no control over investments in the municipality because she's a politician and she is precluded from any supply chain or procurement or investment. But then she claimed later in the meeting that she had instructed Gundo to withdraw the money from VBS and bring it back to the municipality. Now, if you have no authority over investment, then surely you have no authority on getting people to return the money. So that's a contradiction. And then she also said there was no money lost, which is simply not true. Might not have been money lost to Polokwane municipality, but the 24 million rand that was lost in commissions to Gundo is a matter that's before court right now, a matter of money laundering, corruption, and that money, the commission is gone. And that was lost to the investors of VBS, and it was lost to the state. So there were significant losses in this matter, and she simply can't say because the money was returned, there are no losses, or because she's paid back the loan, there's no problem. Is it a loan? Is it a kickback? Whatever it is needs to be proven to South Africans, and we need to be happy that our Minister of Justice is not compromised in any way at all.
Yeah, we need to talk about this because some of the newspapers this morning, the Cape Times, for instance, are reporting, according to their report, this investigation into the minister is taking place and she is being targeted because she does not approve of those that have been appointed into the investigating directorate, right? The likes of Chaskelson. I mean, what do you make of that argument that is now being put forward, that this is a political power play, if you will, for those that are going to be looking into who's been implicated in state capture?
Well, if that held water, then one would think that the minister would expose herself to scrutiny and go and respond and reply to an open investigation so that she herself would be beyond reproach, and then she can make those kind of claims. But now that these claims are being made after her loan has been exposed, further enforces or reinforces our perception that this is not all what meets the eye. So we need the minister to clear her name first, and we need her out of the Ministry of Justice while that is happening. And if she can clear her name, well and good. And as everyone said in the Portfolio Committee on Friday, this is not a personal matter. She holds a public office, very high public office, and she holds probably one of the most important political positions in our country when it comes to the justice system. And the justice system is really a concern. One of the issues I raised on Friday is that if you secure a court date in the High Court of Johannesburg today for some kind of infraction, you will have to wait 5 years to appear in court. Now, that simply is completely unacceptable. And that is why people like our former president, Jacob Zuma, can spend 20 years out of court, saying he wants his day in court, but he has spent 20 years evading going to court. And we need our court systems to work much better in a country that is fraught with corruption. And the minister can help by clearing her name. But sitting there and saying she'd never do anything wrong doesn't hold water for us. We've seen so many of her colleagues in the ANC protesting innocence when, in the meantime, they're completely complicit in corruption and state capture.
Yeah, who needs to do what at the moment? I mean, and we talk about this because it's the Justice Ministry, a very important ministry. And of course, there's going to be the politics around it. But who at this point needs to step up so that at least there's answers?
Well, the very first person I would expect to step up would be the president. And he said last week while he was in China, he's going to need some time and space to deal with this. So the very first person to step up should be the president, to place the minister on suspension or remove her. She serves there at his behest, and he can remove her today. So that's what I would first expect. Secondly, I expect the speaker to provide us with all the members' declarations. Did she declare her loan? Did she declare the property she had bought? Did she declare in her private and public declarations everything around this loan? If she didn't, then she needs to be prosecuted because that's a legal infraction. And then lastly, we need the NPA to charge her. These are very serious allegations, and the NPA should be charging the minister. We've seen that there was a search and seizure warrant issued last week in Polokwane, where the Hawks went to the mayor and our minister's former PA to attach documents and instruments. Now, once that starts, you would expect that she would be charged and then prosecuted. That's what we believe should be happening right now. Presidential action, response from the Speaker about the declarations, and the NPA preferring charges against the minister.
Okay, and you're confident that the Public Protector will take the matter forward?
I'm waiting. She said she'd respond to me on Wednesday, and I'm really waiting with bated breath to receive that response on Wednesday.
Yeah, and just lastly, before I let you go, the message that this sends if we don't wrap this up timeously, because certainly as the story continues to grow, the country is watching, and it is, again, the Justice Ministry.
Well, I can just say that the Zondo Commission was a highlight in our democracy, in our new democracy. The fact that that has been swept under the carpet, or appears to have been swept under the carpet, is a concern. The president used the words himself. He said this matter will not be swept under the carpet. I was very pleased to hear that, but it concerns me that he could even use words like that. And what we need is action so that we can start setting the example. I believe politicians, certainly ministers, should be exemplary in this country, and they're not at the moment. So this should be used as a salutary example of the fact that in South Africa we will not countenance corruption, and if there's any hint of corruption and you're a public office bearer, certainly as a minister and a politician and an MP, you will be held to account. And if we can do that in this instance, we can start turning back this terrible scourge of corruption in our country.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for speaking to us. Athol Trollip, their Member of Parliament with ActionSA, speaking to us this morning.